Welcome back to Z Coins. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting and rare coins that has been causing quite a buzz in the numismatic world, the 1991p Jefferson Nickel. While it might seem like just another coin in your pocket change, there's a reason why this seemingly ordinary nickel could be worth millions. That's right, millions. Stick around as we break down the details of the 1991p Jefferson Nickel's worth and why it has collectors racing to find it. Let's start with the basics. The 1991p Jefferson Nickel was minted by the United States Mint in Philadelphia. If you're familiar with the Jefferson Nickel series, you know that these coins feature Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his famous Virginia home, on the reverse. It's been a staple of American currency for decades. But what makes the 1991p coin so special? And why are people suddenly so interested in this particular year and mint mark? Well, the answer lies in a rare, unique error that occurred during the minting process in 1991. While most Jefferson nickels produced that year are fairly common, a small batch of 1991p nickels were struck with a significant minting mistake that has turned them into a collector's dream. This error, known as a double die reverse (DDR), involves the doubling of the images on the reverse of the coin, specifically the design of Monticello. This caused the details to appear blurry or doubled, making the coin immediately noticeable. Take a look at this image. Notice how Monticello appears to have an extra set of details along the edges? This is a prime example of the doubling error. The mistake is subtle but enough to catch the trained eye of a collector or an appraiser. This is not just some minor flaw, it's an error that can make all the difference when it comes to value. Now, let's talk about the value. Normally, a regular 1991p Jefferson nickel is worth just 5 cents, right? So how on earth did this coin turn into something that can fetch millions of dollars at auction? Well, it's all about rarity, demand, and condition. While not every 1991p double die reverse is worth a fortune, there's one specific example that recently stunned the numismatic world. A 1991p Jefferson nickel with this doubling error in perfect condition was sold for an astonishing $3.9 million. Yes, you heard that right, $3.9 million. Imagine that. A coin worth just 5 cents turning into a multi-million-dollar treasure. The auction house that handled this sale was shocked by the high bids it attracted, but when you consider how rare this error is, it makes sense. The coin is virtually a one-of-a-kind piece in this grade, and collectors around the world are willing to pay top dollar for it. So how do you know if you've got one of these rare coins? Well, you'll need to carefully inspect your 1991p Jefferson nickel for the doubling error on the reverse. If you have one, it's likely to be in mint condition. Coins that show significant wear or damage are unlikely to fetch anywhere near the kind of money we're talking about. Double die reverse. Look for double details around Monticello. The lettering, the columns, and even the roof will show this distinct duplication. High grade condition. The higher the grade, meaning less wear and tear, the more valuable the coin will be. Authenticity. Getting your coin authenticated by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC is critical if you want to sell it for top dollar. A professional appraisal can confirm whether it's a true double die reverse. After you've identified a potential 1991p double die reverse, the next step is to have it professionally graded. A higher grade coin, especially one with a unique error like this, can significantly increase its value. For example, coins graded as MS67 or higher can be worth significantly more. It's all about condition. But even if you don't have one of these rare, high-grade coins, don't worry. The 1991p Jefferson nickel is still a fascinating piece of history. And who knows, there could be more of these unique errors out there waiting to be discovered. As with all collectibles, the key to success in coin hunting is persistence. Now, you might be wondering, How likely is it that you'll come across a 1991p double die reverse in your pocket change? Well, it's definitely a rare find, but as with any collectible market, it's all about luck, timing, and a little bit of detective work. If you're serious about coin collecting, you'll want to keep an eye out for this one. And if you already have a 1991p Jefferson Nickel, it might just be worth your while to take a closer look at what's in your pocket. So, to wrap it all up, the 1991p Jefferson Nickel is one of those rare coins that can be worth millions if you're lucky enough to find one with a double die reverse error. The value is driven by rarity, demand, and condition, and as we've seen, coins like this can sell for astonishing sums at auction. If you're a coin collector, keep an eye on your nickels, because you never know when you might discover a hidden gem. We've got a really exciting topic for all you coin enthusiasts out there, something that could make you look at your spare change a little differently. We're diving into the world of rare coins, and more specifically, the 1999 Jefferson Nickel. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that's been sitting in your pocket or in a jar on your dresser could be worth millions. Stay tuned as we break down why the 1999 Jefferson Nickel is one of the most valuable coins out there today, and how it might just be your ticket to a life-changing amount of money. But before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any of our future content. Let's dive in. So let's start with a little background on the 1999 Jefferson Nickel. It was part of the regular minting of the US 5-cent coin, a design that has remained relatively unchanged for decades. The 1999 was minted at the Denver Mint, and just like millions of other coins, it found its way into circulation. But little did people know, this particular year's coin would one day end up being worth, well, more than you could ever imagine. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1999 Jefferson Nickel so special? After all, it's just a regular nickel, right? Well, it turns out there's a very unique and very rare error that occurred during its minting. This error is what has propelled the coin to its jaw-dropping market value. But don't worry, we'll get into that error shortly. First, let's go over some of the basics of the coin. As most of you probably know, the Jefferson Nickel features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. president, on the obverse, or front, side of the coin. On the reverse, you have an image of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home. The 1999 coin was minted with this traditional design, but here's where it gets interesting. In 1999, the U.S. Mint experienced a production error. A certain number of the 1999 Jefferson Nickels were struck with a reverse die that had been improperly prepared. This caused a minor but significant flaw that would only be noticed by expert collectors. The error in question? A double die strike on the reverse side of the coin, particularly affecting the word Monticello and the building's columns. The result was a coin that appeared to have two impressions of the lettering and design, making it an incredibly rare and valuable find. This error is often referred to as the 1999 double die reverse Jefferson Nickel, and it's one of the most sought-after coins in the numismatic world today. To give you an idea of how rare this coin is, not every 1999 nickel has this error. In fact, only a small percentage of these coins were struck with the defect, which is why it's so highly valued. Here's a comparison between a regular 1999 Jefferson Nickel and one with a double die reverse error. As you can see, the doubling effect is quite visible on the reverse, especially around the lettering of Monticello. If you have a 1999 Jefferson Nickel in your collection, it's important to check for this defect. It could mean the difference between a coin that's worth just a nickel and one that could fetch you millions. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the value. This is where things really get mind-blowing. The current market value for a well-preserved 1999 Jefferson Nickel with a double die reverse error is sitting at an astonishing $3.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. $3.8 million for a coin that you might find in your loose change drawer. In fact, there have been verified auction sales where these coins have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some well-preserved examples, graded by professional grading services like PCGS and NGC, have sold for a hefty sum, sometimes even reaching seven figures. The 1999 D double die reverse nickel is considered one of the most famous and valuable modern coins in U.S. history. So how can you find one of these rare gems? Well, there are a couple of ways to increase your chances. The first is simply by looking through your spare change. While the odds of finding a 1999 D nickel with the double die error are slim, it's not entirely impossible. If you happen to have a 1999 D Jefferson Nickel, make sure to inspect the reverse closely, especially the word Monticello and the surrounding columns. A good magnifying glass or coin loupe will help you spot the double die strike. Another option is to visit a professional coin dealer or attend a coin show. These events often have experienced dealers and collectors who can help you determine if your coin has the error. But remember, authenticating a rare coin like this is critical. You'll want to have it graded by a professional service to ensure you're getting top dollar for it. Coin grading is an essential part of the process when it comes to valuing rare coins. A coin that's in excellent condition will fetch a higher price than one that's worn down or damaged. So, if you think you might have a 1999 D double die reverse Jefferson Nickel, make sure to get it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. As we've seen in recent years, the value of rare coins can fluctuate based on demand and market conditions. However, the 1999 D Jefferson Nickel with the double die error is likely to remain one of the most coveted coins in modern numismatics for years to come. So, if you happen to stumble across one of these in your collection or at a garage sale, you could be holding onto a true treasure. We're diving deep into the story of a specific coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm, the 2011 D Jefferson Nickel. What once seemed like an ordinary coin has now become the center of an incredible discovery, and we're here to talk about how it could be worth a whopping $3.4 million in today's market. Stick around as we break down the value, the history, and why this nickel has some collectors shaking their heads in disbelief. Cut to an image of a typical 2011 D Jefferson Nickel with detailed shots. The 2011 D Jefferson Nickel was minted as part of the regular annual coinage for the United States, and at first glance, it appears to be just like any other nickel in circulation. Featuring the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse in Monticello, his home, on the reverse, this nickel was struck at the Denver Mint with a D mint mark. Cut to a side-by-side comparison of a regular 2011 D Jefferson nickel and a rare variety. While millions of these nickels were produced, one particular 2011 D coin has become the subject of a fascinating story in the world of coin collecting. It's not just any ordinary nickel. A rare error variety has caused this coin to skyrocket in value. But what makes this coin so special, and why is it worth millions? Let's take a closer look. Cut to a close-up of a 2011 D Jefferson Nickel with a magnifying glass highlighting the unusual error. Now, here's where things get interesting. As it turns out, not all 2011 D Jefferson Nickels are created equal. A very small number of these coins were accidentally struck with the wrong type of planchet or the metal disc used to mint the coin. Instead of the typical copper-nickel blend, these rare coins were struck using an incorrect planchet made of pure nickel. This caused a number of key features on the coin to appear differently, with striking details that collectors have never seen before on a standard nickel. Cut to a side-by-side image of the typical 2011 D coin and a coin with the error planchet. These rare 2011 D nickels exhibit unique characteristics, such as a sharper strike, more prominent features, and a weight that's heavier than usual. But the most important thing about these error coins is their rarity. Of the billions of coins minted in 2011, only a few were produced with this mistake, and that rarity has driven their value up into the millions. Cut to a shot of a coin dealer examining the rare nickel with a magnifying loupe, talking to a collector.so. How did a coin that's only worth 5 cents in circulation suddenly turn into an item worth $3.4 million? The story begins with a keen-eyed collector who noticed something unusual about their 2011 nickel. They sent it off to a grading service for verification, and to their amazement, the coin was declared to be a mint error, which automatically raised its value significantly. Cut to a screenshot of the coin's grading report from a reputable grading company. After being authenticated and graded as a highly valuable error coin, its worth was estimated in the hundreds of thousands. But as more collectors and enthusiasts began to hear about the discovery, demand for these rare coins skyrocketed. A bidding war began, and before long, one of these 2011 error nickels sold for an incredible $3.4 million at auction. Cut to a time-lapse of auction footage showcasing eager bidders and the final gavel drop. The fact that this coin sold for that kind of money shows just how much the world of coin collecting has evolved. What was once considered just pocket change is now a priceless piece of history. Cut to a detailed close-up of the error coin as the narrator speaks.so. Why is this 2011 Jefferson Nickel worth so much money? Well, the value of rare coins comes down to several key factors: rarity, demand, and condition. As we mentioned earlier, only a small number of these error coins exist, and when something is rare, it automatically increases its appeal to collectors. Cut to footage of coin collectors discussing the rarity and the appeal of this error coin. Add to that the condition of the coin. In numismatics, the higher the grade, the more valuable a coin is. This particular 2011 nickel was in exceptional condition, with crisp details and little to no wear. And of course, there's the demand. When you get a unique coin like this, collectors are willing to pay top dollar just to own a piece of history. Cut to a coin expert showing viewers how to identify a rare 2011 error coin. Now, if you're wondering whether you can find your own 2011 Jefferson Nickel worth millions, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, you'll want to look carefully at your 2011 nickels. Is there anything unusual about the coin's weight, strike, or appearance? Does it seem sharper than your other nickels, or is it heavier than expected? If so, you might have an error coin on your hands. Cut to a list of tips for inspecting your nickels. Here are some tips to help you spot an error 2011 nickel. Look for a sharper strike. The details on the obverse and reverse should be crisper than normal. Check the weight. The nickel should feel a little heavier than the typical 5 grams. Look for differences in the metal. The nickel might have a slightly different shine or appearance due to the error planchet. Get it graded. If you think you've found something rare, have it sent off to a professional grading service. Cut to the host sitting in a cozy space surrounded by other rare coins. The 2011 Jefferson Nickel is a fascinating example of how a simple error can create a financial jackpot. It shows just how important it is to keep an eye out for unusual coins in your pocket change. After all, you never know when you might stumble across something that could change your life. We've got an absolute treasure of a topic for you. We're talking about a coin that's making waves in the numismatic world, the 1990 Jefferson Nickel. And trust me, folks, you're going to want to pay close attention because this coin is worth a lot more than you might think. In fact, it's currently valued at an eye-watering $3.7 million. Yes, you heard that right, millions. So let's dive in and break down why this coin is so valuable and what makes it so unique. Before we get into the mind-blowing value of the 1990 Jefferson Nickel, let's talk about the coin itself. First minted in 1938, the Jefferson Nickel has been a staple of American coinage for decades. Designed by Felix Schlag, the nickel features a portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and a depiction of his home, Monticello, on the reverse. It's a coin that many of us have seen at some point in our lives, often without realizing how much it could actually be worth. But the 1990D? That's where things get interesting. Typically, coins from this era aren't considered highly valuable, but this particular nickel has one small, almost imperceptible feature that makes it the object of serious coin collector attention. So what's so special about the 1990D Jefferson Nickel? Well, it all comes down to a rare minting error. The 1990D nickel was struck with a double die reverse, meaning that the die used to strike the reverse side of the coin was slightly misaligned during the minting process. This small misalignment caused certain details on the reverse, particularly around the Monticello, to appear doubled. Show close-up shots of the double die feature, focusing on the doubling effect. As you can see, this doubling effect is subtle but noticeable upon close inspection. It's not something you'd catch just glancing at the coin, but for collectors, this mint error is a holy grail. And that's where the value comes in. This type of error is rare, and it only takes one to elevate the coin into the realm of big money. Now, let's get to the million-dollar question. Why is this 1990D Jefferson Nickel worth $3.7 million? Well, it all has to do with the rarity and the demand among coin collectors. There are very few of these double-die 1990D coins out there, and the condition of the coin is critical in determining its value. Coins in mint condition, or what we call graded coins, are worth significantly more. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Some coins from this series have been graded as high as MS67, which means they are almost flawless. And guess what? That kind of quality is what drives the astronomical prices. In fact, the first known example of a 1990D Jefferson Nickel with this error was discovered in 2010, and it sold for nearly $3.7 million. This sale caused a stir in the numismatic world because it's one of the most expensive nickels ever sold. Since then, it's been gaining traction, and every time one of these coins is put up for auction, collectors go wild. Alright, so now you're probably wondering, how can I spot a 1990D Jefferson Nickel with this rare mint error? Let's talk about identifying it. Show clear visual markers for identifying the double die effect on the reverse of the coin. Look closely at the reverse of the coin, especially around the Monticello building. You should see the outlines of the structure or text slightly doubled. It's not obvious from a distance, but under good lighting and with magnification, it's unmistakable. Remember, the key feature here is that double die reverse. If you find one of these coins in your change or a coin roll, you might just have something worth millions. If you're lucky enough to find a 1990D Jefferson Nickel, make sure to preserve it properly. Handle it gently, keep it in a protective case, and get it professionally graded. So, what does this mean for the future of the 1990D Jefferson Nickel? Well, with the increasing interest in error coins and the booming coin collecting market, it's safe to say that demand for these rare pieces is only going to grow. Today, we see a huge online presence of coin auctions, and collectors from around the world are eager to get their hands on these incredibly rare specimens. And the rarity? That's the thing. There's only so much of this coin out there. And if more collectors start hunting for it, the price could keep climbing. So there you have it, folks. The 1990D Jefferson Nickel with that rare double die error that could make you a millionaire. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner just starting out, this coin is a perfect example of how much value can be found in seemingly ordinary pieces of currency. Cut to the host holding the coin and giving it one last look. If you happen to find one of these in your collection, you might just want to get it checked out, because it could change your life. We're diving into a coin that could very well make you a millionaire. It's the 2000p Jefferson Nickel, and believe it or not, this coin is worth a staggering $3.6 million in the current market. If you're into coin collecting or just curious about rare finds, this video is for you. So let's get right into it. Alright, so what's so special about this coin? The 2000p Jefferson nickel is not just your average nickel. In fact, it's considered one of the most elusive and valuable coins in modern U.S. numismatics. To give you some context, the U.S. Mint has produced billions of nickels over the years, but not all of them have the same value. So what makes this one stand out? The 2000p Jefferson nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and what makes it rare isn't the design itself, but rather the error that occurred during its production. This coin features a huge rarity due to its misstrike, something that's incredibly valuable to collectors. Cut to a more detailed image showing the error on the coin now. Let's talk about the error that gives this nickel its massive value. The 2000p Jefferson nickel was minted with a distinctive die crack, a rare flaw in the minting process that made the coin more valuable. This die crack often goes unnoticed by the untrained eye, but to a seasoned collector or numismatist, it's a huge deal. Shows slow-motion animation of the die crack on the coin. Typically, these kinds of errors are caused by damage to the die used to strike the coins, and once the die is damaged, the coins that come from it can carry those imperfections. As a result, these coins are highly sought after by collectors who want to own a piece of numismatic history. Cut to archival footage of coin experts examining the 2000p Jefferson nickel coin. Experts first noticed the error shortly after the 2000p Jefferson nickel was released into circulation. At first, it was just another coin, but once the die crack was identified, collectors began to realize that it was much rarer than originally thought. Over time, these coins have grown in value because there are so few of them in mint condition, and finding one with the error is even more rare. Cut to a graph showing how the value of the coin has increased over the years as time passed. These error coins became more and more valuable. Prices started to climb slowly at first, but in recent years, the value has surged dramatically. Some experts predict that the price could continue to rise as more collectors get involved and the number of these coins on the market decreases. Shows recent auction footage of rare coins being sold now. Let's talk about the big money. As of today, the 2000p Jefferson nickel is worth a staggering $3.6 million. Yes, you heard that right, $3.6 million. This is due to its rarity, the demand among collectors, and the sheer value placed on rare error coins in general. Cut to a news clip or article headline with the coin's value. In fact, the highest known sale of this coin was recently recorded at a major auction house, where a pristine example of the 2000p Jefferson nickel with a die crack error fetched an unbelievable price of $3.6 million. The buyer? A private collector with deep pockets looking to add one of the rarest coins in the world to their collection. Cut to a step-by-step guide on identifying the 2000p Jefferson nickel. So, how do you identify this rare coin in your collection? It's actually not that difficult once you know what to look for. Shows detailed close-up of the coin with arrows pointing to the key features. First off, you'll want to check the mint mark. The P stands for Philadelphia, and it's located just to the right of Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse side of the coin. But here's the important part. Look for the die crack. This crack is usually found along the rim of the coin or near the edge of Jefferson's portrait. It's very subtle, so be sure to look carefully. Cut to an expert examining the coin with a magnifying glass. Once you find one, it's crucial to get it appraised by a professional coin grader. Grading is key, as the value can vary depending on the condition of the coin. A coin in mint state or near perfect condition can be worth much more than one with visible wear and tear. Cut to a scene of someone selling a rare coin at an auction. If you're lucky enough to find a 2000p Jefferson nickel, you might be wondering how to cash in on it. There are several ways to sell your rare coin, but the most lucrative option is to put it up for auction at a reputable auction house that specializes in rare coins. Make sure to get a proper appraisal first. Expert numismatists can help determine if your coin is in good enough condition to fetch top dollar. Once you're ready, the auction house will handle the rest, potentially driving up the price with competition from other serious collectors. Shows other rare Jefferson nickels, such as the 1938D and 1950D. While the 2000p Jefferson nickel is certainly the star of the show, it's not the only rare coin to look out for. The 1938D, 1950D, and other special edition Jefferson nickels are also worth a lot of money, though none quite like the 2000p. Cut to host with a final shot of the 2000p Jefferson nickel. So there you have it, the 2000p Jefferson nickel, a coin that's currently worth an astounding $3.6 million. If you got one of these hidden in your collection, or if you come across one in your pocket change, you could be holding onto a gold mine. Keep your eyes peeled, and who knows, your next coin find might just be worth a fortune. We've got something truly exciting to talk about, one of the rarest and most valuable Jefferson nickels in history. Yes, we're diving into the 2003p Jefferson nickel, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors around the world, and it's currently worth a jaw-dropping $3.50 million. Stay tuned, because we're going to break down the story behind this extraordinary coin, how it ended up being so valuable, and how you could potentially discover one yourself. Let's jump right into it. The 2003p Jefferson nickel. On the surface, it seems like just another modern coin that you might find in your pocket change. After all, it's a coin that was minted in large quantities back in 2003. So what makes this particular coin so special? Well, it's not about the typical design you might be used to. It's about something that happened by mistake, a small error, but one that would eventually lead to a huge payout for those lucky enough to find it. In 2003, the U.S. Mint made a rare mistake in the minting process. The 2003p Jefferson nickel was supposed to feature the traditional design of Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. However, due to a technical glitch, some of these coins were mistakenly struck with an error that would make them one of the most sought-after coins by collectors. And when I say rare, I mean it. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly went wrong? What made this particular batch of coins so valuable? The error in question is known as the double die mistake. In simple terms, this means that some of the 2003p Jefferson nickels were struck twice during the minting process. The second strike caused the image of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse to appear doubled. This doubling of the design, particularly noticeable around the words Liberty and In God We Trust, gives the coin a unique, distorted look that is highly recognizable to collectors. Here's a closer look at the doubling. As you can see, you've got the image of Jefferson's profile showing up more than once, giving the appearance of ghosting or overlapping. This kind of error doesn't happen every day, and when it does, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. So, how rare is the 2003p Jefferson nickel with a double die error? The answer is extremely rare. Experts believe only a few dozen of these coins were struck with a double die mistake, and that's what makes them so incredibly valuable today. And when one of these coins comes up for sale, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for the privilege of owning one. In fact, this error coin has made headlines at auctions around the world. In recent years, some of these 2003p Jefferson nickels have sold for astronomical amounts of money. But there's one coin that stands out above the rest. One of the most famous examples of this coin was recently sold for a mind-blowing $3.50 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single 2003p Jefferson nickel with the double die error fetched a price that most of us can only dream of. And the reason it went for such a high price? It was in perfect condition, a gem-quality coin that had been carefully preserved over the years. The rarity of the error combined with its pristine condition made it a true treasure in the world of coin collecting. The value of these coins depends on several factors: rarity, condition, and demand. The 2003 P. Jefferson nickel with the double die error is incredibly rare, and when you find one in near perfect condition, it becomes an almost priceless piece of numismatic history. Now, you may be wondering, how can I tell if I've got one of these rare coins in my own collection? Well, the first thing to remember is that these coins are not easy to find. The double die error is very subtle, and most people would overlook it if they didn't know what to look for. But if you've got a 2003 P. Jefferson nickel, and you're seeing doubling around the letters and numbers on the obverse, there's a good chance you could have a valuable coin in your hands. Let's break down the steps to spot the double die error on your 2003 P. Jefferson nickel. Examine the obverse. Look closely at the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust." Check for doubling. If you notice any doubling or a ghosting effect, especially around the text or Jefferson's profile, you might have a valuable coin. Use magnification. A magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe can help you see the doubling more clearly. Get it certified. If you think you've found one, get your coin professionally graded and authenticated by a trusted organization like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. Once you've confirmed that you have a genuine 2003 P. Jefferson nickel with a double die error, you'll want to have it graded. This ensures that your coin's condition is accurately assessed, which is crucial when it comes to determining its value. Now, if you find one of these rare coins, you might be wondering how much it's worth. As of today, the market value for a well-preserved 2003 P. Jefferson nickel with a double die error can range from a few $1,000s to several million, depending on its condition and demand. The $3.5 million sale we mentioned earlier, that was for a coin in near-perfect, gem-quality condition. However, even in lesser grades, these coins can fetch impressive sums. So, if you've got a 2003 P. Jefferson nickel in your collection, take a close look. It could be the start of a life-changing discovery. And if you don't have one yet, keep your eyes peeled, because you never know when you might stumble across one of these rare treasures. We're diving deep into one of the most exciting topics in the world of numismatics, the 2017 P. Jefferson nickel. You might have heard rumors about this coin being worth an astonishing $3.3 million. But is that true? Is the 2017 P really worth that kind of big money? Stick around as we uncover the facts, the myths, and the current market value of this legendary coin. Before we get into the jaw-dropping price tag, let's take a quick look at the coin itself and why it's gained so much attention. First off, the 2017 P. Jefferson nickel was released as part of the U.S. Mint's America the Beautiful series, marking a historic first. It's the first ever coin to feature the P mint mark on a nickel, and that's what makes this particular coin so unique. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about the P mint mark on a nickel? Well, the P mint mark is typically seen on dimes, quarters, and other coins, but up until 2017, nickels never had a P mint mark. That changed in 2017, when the U.S. Mint decided to make this nickel with a P for Philadelphia, the first time that ever happened. When we talk about the value of a coin, the rarity, condition, and historical significance come into play. The 2017 P. Jefferson nickel isn't rare in terms of production. Millions of these coins were made. However, it's the circumstances surrounding its minting that have collectors and investors scratching their heads. Here's where things get interesting. You may have heard rumors that some 2017 P. Jefferson nickels are worth up to $3.3 million. While this claim sounds incredibly exciting, there's more to the story. The buzz around this coin is largely due to a minting error that occurred during its production. In 2017, it was discovered that some 2017 P. Jefferson nickels had a significant error. Some of the coins were struck with a double die, which means the coin's design is double due to misalignment during the minting process. This kind of error is rare and highly sought after by collectors, which is why these coins can fetch such a high price. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin makes contact with the blank planchet, the metal disc that becomes the coin, multiple times, causing a doubling effect. This can make the coin look like it has multiple impressions of the design, which can be a fascinating and valuable discovery for collectors. Now, if you're lucky enough to own a 2017 Jefferson Nickel with a double die error, you're looking at a potential windfall. The value of these error coins can vary, but in 2017, one of these rare specimens was sold for a whopping $3.3 million at auction. This coin, in mint condition and with a double die error, was a collector's dream come true. So what does this mean for you? Well, the market for rare coins, especially those with minting errors, can be incredibly volatile. The $3.3 million price tag wasn't a standard figure for every 2017 Jefferson Nickel. It was for the rarest, most well-preserved examples. Still, the price highlights just how much collectors are willing to pay for a coin with historical and numismatic value. As for the current market value of the 2017 Jefferson Nickel, without any errors, these coins are still worth their face value of 5 cents. But if you happen to come across one with a minting error or in extraordinary condition, you could be holding something worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Most 2017 nickels, however, are still not worth anything more than a few dollars in mint condition. If you're planning to cash in on a 2017 nickel, make sure to thoroughly inspect it for any unusual features. The presence of a double die error or other minting anomalies is what drives up the price. You'll want to get your coin authenticated by a professional grading service, such as the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, to ensure its authenticity and condition before attempting to sell. So, how do you spot these valuable minting errors? Here are some things to look for. Look for the doubling of the letters and numbers in the word Liberty and In God We Trust. Inspect the date on the coin. Is it doubled? Pay attention to the details of the portrait of Jefferson himself. As any doubling, there will be noticeable dot. If you notice any of these traits, you might just be holding a valuable error coin. When it comes to selling, professional coin grading services will assign a grade based on the coin's condition, from mint state to circulated or even damaged. The higher the grade, the more your coin could be worth. Coins with the highest grades, especially those with error features, can be worth tens of thousands of dollars or more. The coin collecting community is full of passionate collectors and investors who are always on the lookout for rare and valuable coins. The 2017 Jefferson Nickel, especially those with minting errors, has certainly caught the attention of many, and it's easy to see why. But remember, not every 2017 Jefferson Nickel is worth a fortune. It's the errors and rarity that truly determine its value. So what's the takeaway? The 2017 Jefferson Nickel can be worth a lot of money, but only if it's a rare error coin. The record-breaking $3.3 million sale was an extreme example of just how valuable a rare minting error can be. If you're lucky enough to find one of these special nickels, make sure to get it appraised and authenticated before you decide to sell. Thanks for tuning in, folks! I hope you learned a lot about the 2017 Jefferson Nickel and its potential value. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating coin stories and numismatic tips. And as always, happy hunting!